started that game, I thought, and it's the first 20-25 minutes with real purpose on the other night.
I think you look at it from start to about 65 minutes, and then the last 10-15 minutes there was just a patch in the game where they just got over the top of us. A couple of really soft tries just sort of drained us a little bit of energy, and that's just that focus. And against a good side, like I said, they've not lost a game in a long time, but on their own patch there's a decent crowd there, and they've just, that momentum that they got behind them just got them a couple of soft tries really, and that just gave them that momentum to push on. Like I said, a score at the end, we make it look half decent with a score at the end to make it 10, but they're not 30 points better than us on that day. But that's what can happen when, like I said, when the scoreboard can tick over pretty quickly. 3 tries in a matter of 4 or 5 minutes makes it look like a blowout score, but it was a tough day at the office for both teams. And again, we went there with a real bit of purpose about us, and you could see that. But we went to a side that had won their last 6-7 games, I think it may be more. And we're a side that's just getting ourselves back going again. There was patches that we looked solid. And there's 18 points in that game that, like I say, that were pretty unforgivable. Like I say, and easily sorted out with a little bit of focus. So it's not like we're miles off with everything we're doing, or the effort and the energy's not there. There was the fact that Charlie Runciman not dropping on a ball when it gets kicked behind him, not getting out and getting goal when they kick from really deep, a dive over try and then a try from a kick-off. It's like those kind of things that someone just puts their hand up and says, yeah, just switch down for a second. And that's what we have to do this weekend as well, because against a side like Castleford, you can't really, on a short pitch, you turn around and the next thing you know, they're letting the ball down. So it's attention to detail and focus this week is a real key effort for us.
Was there also a little bit of a case again of you not quite making hay when the sun shine? Because you could have scored, you went 4-0 up, probably could have been 10 or 14, couldn't it?
Yeah, we should have put them to bed pretty early, or got ourselves into a more comfortable position than we did. And that, again, that's just a little bit of luck, a little bit of the Charlie Runciman try for all money. I thought he got it down, but he didn't. It was a great play, found some space, got him away and just couldn't get the ball over. And that was their desperation. That's the side that's winning games. Their desperation to get underneath him, to stop him getting that ball down was fantastic. I thought the kick that Joe Mello put in and the chaos around and the end goal, it was a little bit of a bounce, and Kev misses it and Jack Buchanan gets it and puts it down on Kev, who's in the end goal. He was half in touch and half. So it's one, I said, there's 2 tries before they get theirs. And that's the battle that we're having with ourselves at the moment. Like I say, a couple of those stick, it looks like a different thing, but I'd say we were a bit filthy with ourselves after. Like I say, we went there and we expected more. And I think they were more filthy with the fact that there was, like I say, the 2 or 3 tries that were really, for a better word, soft.
Jack had a bit of an unfortunate. Jack Buchanan had a little bit of an unfortunate start when he came on, didn't he? With 2 penalties that he gave away. Do you think that coming from the NRL and the way that the rucks are policed here or interpreted here is an issue for Australian players?
Not really, no. I think he gets caught in the ruck on the floor. Fanua just leaves him on the ground and steps over him, which he can't do, by the way. He can't move off the mark, but he steps over the referee and plays the ball into him, and that's a penalty. I think that's the same in both NRL and this country, so you can't get in the ruck. And the other one was he was slack in contact. He was just a bit soft, so I don't think you get away with that in the NRL either. I don't think there was the interpretation. I think the fact that he hasn't played for 6 weeks, the emotion and the drivers of last week were pretty easy. He had adrenaline, and he did a pretty good job. And this week's the 2nd week where he's had to find himself again going forward, and that get caught within his fitness and not having played a lot. The fact is that I had to play him longer minutes than I actually wanted to this time because I lost Steph Marsh early, and that threw out the rotation on my forward bench. But like, using Jack for as long a minutes as I did was unfortunate, but those things happen. And like I said, he was sat in our review on Friday night, and he's filthy with himself. So he understands what he's done and the effort that he needs to put in to make it better. So that's an easy part of it. At least you got lads that know that and recognise that it's parts of their game that weren't good enough. I felt on Jack's point it was tough because, like I say, his second game in 6 or 7 weeks.
These penalties at the back end of sets, when you think you've got them penned in, are killers, aren't they? Because
it's one in particular I think you're talking about. Like I say, and they score off the back of it. Like I say, those kind of things hurt. They hurt when they're deep in the opposition's half, but like I say, when you get to tackle 5 and you're just about to get a kick back, yeah. Like I say, and it's just sloppy. It was just lazy across the board and just overreaching. If Sarr just comes in and shoulder charges somebody, and he doesn't need to. Just needs to be smart. And it's like I said, he get a penalty kick in a corner and score on the back of it in our own half. So that was the only tackle 5 penalty. But it's highlights, like I say, the highlight of it is the kick in a corner and score on the back of it. And the game's still relatively close. They were still only 1 score away from getting back into the game.
What's the story with Steph? You thought it was a calf tear?
He's a calf strain. He's been to have a scan, and it's a grade 1. It's a decent gradient of tear. It's like 4 weeks.
Right. Patrick Arvan is available this week, though.
Yay! 1 in, 1 out. Yeah. Makes for an easy conversation, doesn't it?
What about Eamon? What's his status at the moment?
He's he's just recovering from a bit of nerve damage, and he stretched the nerve in his neck. I'm making a tackle at the Magic weekend, and it's just settling down. Nerves, who knows?
Not this week.
Not this week.
So Castleford on Thursday, as you say, small pitch. You get a lot of high-scoring games there, and you're both sort of vying for similar sort of positions in the table, aren't you? So it's all on, isn't it?
It is. We know where we are. With 6 games left, I reckon 2 games gets us in the 8, 3 games gets us maybe a little bit higher up the table. We've got 3 home games in that. We know our destiny's in our own hands in these last 6 games. It starts with a bit of competition with the side that's just above us. Like I say, I don't think we can take them, but we can get close to them on Thursday night. But their form's been pretty good over last month especially. Oh yeah, we go that. The hardest thing this week is just getting our lads believing that we can go there and we can win, and we can win well. That's the challenge over a short period after coming out of a whole game where you've really put in, and the scoreline looks like you've been flogged, and you've not. But that's the state that we're in. So get them moving forward a little bit, recognise where we are and the mistakes we've made, and rectify those, and go out and put a lot of energy and effort into Thursday night. Tons
of attacking threat in that Castleford side, isn't it? They can be pretty inspired at times, can't they? Solomona's going great for him, Luke Gale's playing really well, etc.
Dawn's been key when he's come back. He's really fired him up. But I think their left edge, when you look, Webster's playing well. I think Junior Moores has really found. I think he's turned into the Junior Moores that Darryl wanted to sign over a year or so ago. He's found his rhythm and he's starting to play. He's dangerous. But as you say, they've got McMeekin who can offload the ball really well. I think they're forward pack of a team that can pass and play. So it's a massive challenge. They like to play with the ball. They challenge you every single play, and that's an attention and a focus thing that we dropped off on the weekend that we need to be really sharp on Thursday night.
With only half a dozen games left to the split now, I suppose various points in the season pressure builds up, doesn't it? Is the squad aware of the fact that you probably need to win 2, maybe 3 to secure that 8th?
I'm sure they do, yeah. I'm sure they do.
Do you feel the pressure's building?
Of course it is, yeah. That's what it's turned into, isn't it? That's the promotion and relegation and the split has built this pressure around, especially around that, like the teams that are in 6, 7 and 8th spot. And at the moment you look at 6, 7, 8 and 9, everybody's under a little bit of a position where they can actually be vulnerable. I say Wakefield as well, like if they've got themselves into a strong position, but now they've got to continue winning games. They're pretty catchable. We're catchable. Well, Salford and Hull KR are sides that know that they can win games. So it's that tale of like those 4 or 5 teams over this next 6 weeks. Yeah, the pressure's going to build, and the side that handles that pressure best, and the side that puts on some solid performances will come through and finish in them strong positions.
Other than the blocks we've mentioned, come through with no injuries, or have you got other injuries that you know of?
No, we're all right at the moment. Yeah, like I said, we're pretty, which is lucky really, because I've only got 19 blokes. Like I say, I would have had 1 extra, but Steph's got injured on the weekend as well. So we came through the game as the team. Like I said, the changes that a pretty simple one is that Steph will possibly definitely drop out and Pat Evans available, so it's a straight swap on that left edge. But there's no cloak and dagger. I ain't got any more players. I say I've got 18 players, and I've got the Chaplow twins, Ed Chamberlain and JJ